Welcome to Women's Million-Dollar Conversations with Alice Tang, where we share stories from successful businesswomen who have saved, earned, or sold over $1 million and discuss how they built their success and insights to help you achieve your goals. Now, let's join the conversation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Alice Tang, for Women's Million-Dollar Conversation. This morning, I have the pleasure to sit with one of my new friends who seems like a very old friend because we can talk for hours about life and money. She is Theresa Conti. Theresa, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here and share my story. And I feel the same way. I'm happy that we are new friends.
Theresa, would you tell us a little bit about your background? I know you recently sold your business, so you're a new woman in new chapter. Before we really talk about money.
Yeah, I really, in some ways, do feel like I'm a new woman. Yeah, for 25 years, I owned my own business in the retirement plan space. So, very thankful for that. So, it's given me a new outlook on life, but I still am in this retirement and financial service space. I really want to help women succeed here. I think that's my new passion. That's my new where I want to go with the rest of my career, whatever that looks like.
Yes, yes. So you're in the industry still. I see you very active in the same conferences you went before you sold your business because all the pictures show that
Yes.
you're active. Well, we're here today to talk about money, which is a very important topic for all of us. What's the value of money for you?
Yeah, the value of money is very interesting, right? And it definitely changes over your lifetime. When you were a kid, just having a few dollars in your pocket and what you chose to do with that was a different conversation than it is today. I think money now in my life is security. It's knowing that I have money, I'll be able to live out my life, I'll be able to enjoy life and those kind of things. So to me, I think today money is security.
It's security. Well, it also give you some freedom, if not to go to all these lovely conference and continue to hang out with your friends
Yeah.
and our common friends too. So awesome. So we are talking about $1 million here. It's a lot of money. At the same time, it may not be a lot of money. But regardless, it is a benchmark for those who are still saving or running towards this line. So before our recording, we talk about focusing on saving.
Mhm.
And would you tell us how to get to your first $1 million? How long does it take? And in between, is there any bias hurdles that you have faced? And
Yeah.
how do you resolve them?
Yeah. And I told you, I've hit that $1 million a few times with my business, right? But I think for me, one of the biggest things that you kind of forget about when I was getting ready to sell my business and figure out what I was going to do, some other things. And, I was having this conversation with my husband and I said, well, you forget I have $1 million in my 401k plan. And he was like, wait, what? How do you have, like, I had no idea that you had that. Now, remember, I owned my business for 25 years, which is a very long time. I started that business in mid 1998. And in January 1st of 1999, I started a 401k plan. Did I contribute the maximum every year? Absolutely not. Did I contribute something every year? Absolutely, I did. And I think that people forget that it's so important to have that regular savings. And sometimes people are like, 401k plans don't work. And, these kind of things happen. But I disagree with that. And it has been my business for 25 years, for full disclosure, right? So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. But you forget when you get to that retirement that having that money that you've saved for all those years, it can be a big amount. It can be something that is really important. And we were talking about a new article I just saw that says most people who have $1 million in their 401k, it does take them 26 years to get there. But you work for 26 years typically. So I think it's something that we all need to consider and something that we should be doing regularly. And I think it said the average savings to get there had to be around 17%. But remember, that includes your savings, that includes money your employer may put in and a lot of different things. But it was kind of a nice surprise when I got to that point.
It's a nice surprise. On the top of the sale of the business, the proceeds, we have $1 million. Actually, I appreciate this because I'm an immigrant. I'm in charge of finance of my household. I let go our first CPA because he has never mentioned that my husband at the time I couldn't work could put something in his retirement plan so we can have the tax deductibility. We're newbies. We didn't know about taxes. We just looked at our tax bill with so much.
Yeah. No, and I think people forget that too. And I've educated a CPA or two in my time, to be honest, about some of the things they can do, their clients can do. And, sometimes it is overlooked, but I think there's a lot of reasons why it's important, whether you're an employee, whether you're a business owner, there's a lot of reasons why that's important. And I think particularly as women, because that's another one of my passions is helping women, is women forget that. They don't think it's important today. And I really think we need to change that narrative. It is part of savings. It's not the only savings you should have by any means, right? And you're a financial advisor, you would tell your clients that as well. But it is something that is important that you will be thankful for when you get to retirement age, that you have that account balance. And it does kind of make me mad when you see those articles that say 401ks don't work and those kind of things. But 401ks do work if you take the time to have that regular savings and make them a priority for you.
Yes, absolutely. I learned one bite at a time. So small bites, don't underestimate that. And if you have the 25 years or X years, it's the power of compounding. So I am buying everything you said just now, Theresa. I'm in your camp. So what are some of the hurdles or the bias when you are walking towards or saving towards that first million in your retirement plan?
Yeah. So I think there's definitely some hurdles that we all have. I think sometimes, especially for women, we have the hurdle of, especially if we're a working mom, maybe our hurdle is maybe we were out of the workforce for a couple years while we were home with our kids. And so, it doesn't matter, or my husband's, saving, or those kind of things. But I think really knowing and understanding why it's important for you to have that. I think knowing and saving regularly and getting back into it, maybe when you come back into the workforce and making up some of what you might have, lost during that time. I think that gets pushed aside sometimes. I've spent a lot of time recently talking with some of the younger generations, and I actually have a friend's daughter who I think she heard my message because she basically told me she's saving like 18% plus her employer's matching her. I mean, what she's getting in that plan is a significant amount of money. And I'm like, don't touch it. You'll want that for later. You'll want that when you retire. And I think that some of that message might be getting across, but it is a hurdle. I've also talked with other young women who maybe their husband's the stay-at-home dad and they are only putting in what they can. Well, put in what you can, put in what the company is going to match you at a very minimum. Just start somewhere, even if that's small. I think some of the other hurdles sometimes are, for me in business, being a woman in financial services was sometimes a hurdle against some of the men, of course. But I don't know if we want to go there. I could talk about that too if you want to, but I know
We'll create another podcast for this. Don't worry.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
At least you have a supportive husband in the journey of saving. So I think that it's not a bias, it's a plus because without him, you don't do what you do, and together you both
Well,
rise above.
yeah, and I'll tell you honestly, my husband was never a saver. It's been a struggle during our marriage because he grew up in a poor household. They lived paycheck to paycheck. When we were young, we lived paycheck to paycheck for many, many years. But I also understood that at some point we were going to want to retire and would need some money. And even if it was just our 401k, and I have that conversation with business owners a lot, especially small business owners. And I'm like, it's really great if you're going to be able to sell your business when you're ready to retire and have a boatload of money. That's a really great scenario. but that only happens to 17% of people. Just
right.
to put it in perspective, right? People go into bankruptcy, or COVID happens and they go out of business, or right, whatever could happen. But you would still have that 401k money that you had saved, that retirement plan money. And there's a lot of ways you can save money as a business owner. And 401k and retirement plan money is also not subject to bankruptcy. That's always your money, right? So I think that's one of the mistakes sometimes small business owners make, is that they think their business is their savings, and we hope it is, but what if it's not? And I think that them having that discussion, and I said I've spoken to many of them about that, and you bring that into perspective, and I think a lot of them do listen. And even if they can't start today and they start tomorrow or next year, start. That's the important thing.
We can talk about this all day long because there is the profit sharing plan and then the cash balance plan on the side and all these non-qualified that we can talk about to help them save if they're really making a lot of money. So that said, let's focus back on Theresa's path to the $1 million. So it's 25 years that you have taken to get to that $1 million of saving in your 401k plan. You're eating the elephant one little bite, one big bite, depending on the year at a time. Okay. So there might be a time or two that you feel that, gosh, I can't do this. I can't do this. What kept you going?
Oh, what kept me going? Well, there were definitely years that it was a struggle, right? As a business owner, if we have business owners out there, you have years that are up and years that are down. And, there were years where we didn't have good results, and maybe we couldn't make an employer contribution or a bare minimum contribution to pass some of the compliance and stuff that's related to the 401k. But the years where we had good years, I made sure that I took care of myself, but I took care of my people too. So, it's keeping that end goal as a business owner, not only for yourself, but maybe for your people too, right? Like, and then really encouraging them. I was always of the auto enrollment. I auto enrolled my people at 8%. If you didn't tell me otherwise, that's where we were going. And, I'm sure some of them didn't like it, but I would hope that, eventually they would be thankful for that. So, I don't know if I answered your question, Alice, but it's definitely a process and something you have to think about regularly. But in the other hand, too, if you are putting regular money in via payroll deduction, just put it in, let it go, and just don't even look at it, because you will be surprised when you get to the end and what that number looks like.
That's right. That's right. What you have said really resonated with me. Do what you can given what you have. Because there are years, and especially business owners, but even a W-2 employees, there are years when the expenses just fall through the roof. You didn't expect to repair the roof. At the same time, you need a new refrigerator or dryer or washer, whatever.
Yep.
Somebody trip over your front yard and, have things happen. But do what you can given what you have.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that, and revisit it every year. And, the whole auto enrollment and auto escalation, if I get a raise at the beginning of the year, why don't I put more of that then in my 401k? I think it's those little things that will help you in the long run.
That's great. That's great. What is a piece of very good advice or a piece of very bad advice that has made the biggest impact in your life?
Oh, bad advice is probably that I can't, do this. I'm not going to make it. I don't have the guts to be a business owner. I think I proved that wrong. But good advice is really taking care of yourself, right? It's not only saving, it's taking the time to be the person you want to be there for your family. And there were many times where I missed a family event because I had something going on at the office. And sometimes I look back at those and I'm like, I should have made, I made my family a priority many times, but there were times where I didn't. And I think that's one of the things that I look at. But my advice to everybody is be who you are, be authentic. Don't be somebody different because that's what you think somebody expects of you.
Yes, so I think that really hit the chord about what is one piece of advice we would give our audience, especially women who's looking up to you and wanted to be you. Last question. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful every day for my good health now. I was a breast cancer survivor, 9.5 years, I'm cancer free. So I am
Yes.
thankful for that every day and try to really take care of myself every day, even if that's a short walk, even if that's just something. I try to do something that's for me every single day. And I think that helps my overall health because health is all kinds of health. It's mental, it's physical, it's emotional. So I think that's what's so important. And that's what I'm
Very
grateful
grateful for you, Theresa, for the time and the thoughtfulness about, which route to go. I know you hit 3 routes. You saved, you earned, you made, but we decided to empower the audience about saving and the importance of doing as much as you can, given what you have. Theresa, grateful for you. Thank you so much for today.
for. Grateful for you as well. Thank you so much for having me.